Hi, this is Lorna from Awesome Tech Training, and in this set of videos I'm going to run through the process of building a simple one-page WordPress site using the Astra theme. So the site that we're going to build today is what I'm showing you on the screen at the moment. So obviously you'll be able to customize this to your own particular requirements. You don't have to build exactly this site, but this will just give you an indication of what you might end up with. So it's a very simple site, but stylish and reasonably professional looking. Ideal if you just want to get something up and running pretty quickly. So what have we got? We've got this nice big hero image at the top of the page with some text over it. As I'm scrolling, you can see that we've got this parallax effect where the image stays static. You don't have to have that, but if you want that, I'll show you how to do it. Then we've got a section of ways that we can help you. Again, you'll be able to customize this entirely to your own particular requirements. We've got these kind of irregular shaped blobs, but if you want circles or squares, that's all perfectly fine. Each one of these buttons is a clickable button that would go through to open up somebody's email. So simple ways that people can get in touch with you without you having to start building contact forms and stuff like that. We've got this kind of wave effect separator here at the bottom of the section. Again, I'll show you how to do that. If you don't like it, you don't have to have it. Then we've got a Meet the Team section, and what I've done here is I've embedded a video. So you can see what happens if I click on that. Just show you again. So the video just sits here with a little play button, and when I click, it pops out and starts playing automatically. Again, you don't have to have that, but I'll show you how to do it if you want it. Then we've got a simple FAQ section. Each one of these is a little accordion that just drops down and provides the answer when the person clicks. And then at the bottom here, contact details and a nice embedded map. In the footer, just the copyright notice. In the bottom right hand corner, you can see we've got this little button that dinks us back up to the top. And just one other thing to mention in the header, because this is a one-page site, all these menu items, they just drop you down the page. So again, if I show you that with Meet the Team, just drops you down the page to that bit so that people can navigate around the page quite easily. So that's what we're going to build. It's not complicated. It won't take you more than an hour to do. And we will kick the process off with showing you how to install WordPress. I'm going to show you how to install WordPress at your hosting company. So I am showing you now the control panel for the domain that I'm going to use, which is this one, att-empty.com. And if I scroll down, you can see at the bottom what we're looking for is this one-click install section where there's a WordPress logo. If you were using GoDaddy or 123reg or any other hosting company, you would see probably a lot more logos and you just search through them until you found the WordPress one. This is our own hosting environment that I'm using here, and we only use WordPress, so we only have the WordPress logo. But either way, you look for your one-click install section, find the WordPress logo and click it. Okay, so we can see that it's installed on the domain now, and the final step is to click this Install WordPress button to finish the process. So it's just going to tick through for a few moments. And here we are. It says that WordPress has been successfully installed. So if I click on the domain now, it's going to take me through the WordPress configuration process. So this is just really setting up your preferences and so on. So to start with, it's asking what language I'd like it in. So I'm happy for it to be in English, but as you can see, there's a vast number of different options that you could select. And then it's asking us to tell it the title of the site and to set up a user. So these things can all be changed later. So you can call it whatever you like at this point and then go in later and change it if you need to. So I'm just going to call it My Practice Website for the sake of getting something up and running. Then it asks us to configure a user. So you could have your username as your name or as admin or whatever makes sense for you. So let's go with admin. And then you can see that it has suggested a strong password that would be pretty much impossible for anyone to guess, or for any kind of bot or spider or whatever to guess either. It's tempting to change this to something that's much easier to remember, but we don't recommend doing that. One of the disadvantages, I suppose, of WordPress, or just something to be aware of really rather than a disadvantage, is because of the incredible popularity of WordPress, lots of people spend a lot of time and effort trying to hack into WordPress sites, and one of the easiest and most common ways of getting into a site is to just guess the password. And not necessarily a human being guessing a password, but a computer, a bot guessing the password. So that's why WordPress is suggesting such a strong password as the one you see here. If you do decide to change it, then change it to something that's equally complex but easier for you to remember. Then you need to put in your email address, and that will be the admin email address that's associated with the WordPress site once it's up and running. So I'm just putting in my Awesome Tech Training address. And then you've got this little tick box, discourage search engines from indexing this site. So if you tick that, then WordPress will basically tell Google and other search engines not to index the site. Quite often people tick it when they are developing a new site and they don't want any traffic to the site while it's under development. That's fine and it works very well, but a problem that quite often comes up is that people forget that that box is ticked. They put the site live and wonder why they're getting literally no organic search traffic. So what we would tend to say is that a better way of doing that is to leave this box unticked and instead to set up a coming soon page or something like that as a way of stopping people from being able to access the site until you're ready. And when you're good to go and you've got the password, make a note of this password, because the next thing that happens is WordPress is going to ask you to log in. And if you don't have this password, then you are potentially in trouble. So make a note of the password, remember what your username is, and then click Install WordPress to finish the process. Okay, so we've got success. WordPress has been installed. Thank you very much. We now log in using that username and the password that we have saved somewhere. So if you click on login, you will see, you go to this, this URL, which is your domain /wp-login.php. So whenever you come to log in the future, you don't need to go back in through your hosting panel. You just come directly to this URL. So I've put in the username and the password and I click login. And that's it, we're in. So here we are in the back end of a standard WordPress installation. If I click on my practice website here in the top right hand corner, this is what it looks like on the front end. So this is a live website now on the internet. This is dummy content that WordPress gives us. We can see this black bar along the top because we're logged in. We wouldn't see that if we weren't logged in. And if I click there, it takes me back to the back end. So that is the process of installing WordPress. It's quick and straightforward. So the first thing that we're going to do is install the theme that we're going to use for this project. So in WordPress, I go through to the front end again. The theme is what controls effectively the design of the site, the look and the feel of it, what fonts there are, so what fonts your heading is, what fonts your body copy is, how wide the content is on the page, if you've got a little background shading as you have here, all those kinds of things. The styling basically is controlled by the theme. What we are seeing at the moment is WordPress's own basic theme. It's called 2024. So when you get WordPress, you have that installed with it. We're going to switch to a theme called Astra. It's a very popular theme. We use it ourselves for our own website and for lots of sites that we build for other people. So if we have a look over here on the left-hand side at the Appearances menu, you can see we've got this item Themes. So if we click on that, as I said, you can see here that the active theme is currently 2024. And these other two are just previous editions of WordPress's own basic theme. We are going to click Add New Theme up at the top here, and we're going to search for Astra. So I actually see it, it's this one here, Astra. But if you don't see it in the list, you just put it in the search box and it will bring it to the front. So Astra is a free theme. It has a paid version, which is quite common. So any theme that you can download in the WordPress backend, the fact that it's in there means that it's free. But this freemium model where you get a basic theme with core functionality for free and then certain features are only unlocked if you pay for them is pretty common. But we can do everything that we want to do to build this particular site in the free version of Astra. And it just gives us a little bit more wiggle room than we get with the basic WordPress theme. So for any theme that you want to install, you click on the Install button. And it just sort of ticks through, as you can see now. And then once it's installed, it's always this two-stage process. You then have to click Activate. And here we are. So what's actually changed? If we go back to the front end of the site, you can see it looks completely different. So we don't have any of that dummy content in there that WordPress put in for us. The width of the page is slightly different. The fonts are different. There's a whole heap of things that are different. And this gives us the blank canvas that we are going to use to build the site. So I'm just going to quickly go back to the dummy site that we're working on. We're just going to work our way down the page. So the first thing that we want to build is this big hero image at the top here with some text over it and this parallax effect, so it stays static when we scroll. So we're going to go to Pages here, and you can either just click on Pages or All Pages or Add New Page. Indeed, you could click up here on this little plus button and click Page. All of these things are just ways of getting a new page. So I'm going to click Add New Page. And it takes us into the WordPress block editor. So if you want to run through this little explanation of how it works, you can do, but I'm just going to close that now. And we are going to give our page a title of Home for now. So what do we have at the top of the site? As I said, we've got a heading, the way to achieve your dreams, and it sits over a picture. So the way that the WordPress editor works is it has a series of blocks. A page is made up of a series of blocks, and each block is a piece of content. So a block might have a heading in it, it might have a paragraph of text, you might have a block that's 2 columns side by side. Each one of those columns could have a block nested in it, a paragraph here, a picture there, and so on and so forth. So the block is the central tool with which we build a page. So as you can see here, it says type to choose a block, or you can just click on this little plus button to add a block. So if we click on the plus button, gives us a list of the 6 most commonly used blocks. And as we get more into the process and we start building the site and using other blocks, this list will change as it learns what blocks we use. If I just quickly click on Browse All, you can see these are all standard blocks that come with WordPress out of the box. So we've got things like paragraphs and headings and lists and so on, different types of media, different design elements, different things that you can embed into pages. There's all kinds of stuff. In a little while, we're going to actually add some more blocks. But for now, we are going to add the block that is this one. It's called Cover. Is a picture and some text over it, and we can format that how we like. So first of all, it wants us to add the picture. So various different ways that you can do this. Either you can upload it from anywhere on your computer that you have it stored, or if you have already been working on your site and you've got some pictures stored in the media library, you can use those. But we don't have anything because this is a blank WordPress install, so we're going to click on upload, and it will just, so I've got this image here, cover image, so I select that and click open, and it loads it up. So while it's loading, the next thing that it offers is for me to write my chosen title. So I've just copied and pasted that from the previous site, but you could obviously type that in, whatever you like. So at this point, I'm going to save this as a draft. And once you've got it saved as a draft, you can view a preview. So it's always useful to see what you're working with. So we do have the same basic content. Let's just compare. We've got this here that we've just installed. And then over here, we've got this. So we need to do a little bit of styling to make the one match the other. So key differences, the text here is in black. The image fills the entire of the page, indeed the entire of the screen that I'm looking at, and it stays static when I scroll. So how do I do that? I am looking at the preview at the moment. I click on edit page, go back, various different things. So first of all, I'm going to click on the image. So I'm making sure that I'm clicking on the image and not on the text at the moment. With every block in WordPress, you will have some editing tools at the top here, just above the block, and you will have some editing tools on the right-hand side here. So here we've got two tabs, page and block. You just need to make sure that you're in the block tab and you're seeing options for this particular block. So a few things to do in here. First thing, over here, under align, you can see we've got this option full width. So that is going to make it be full width. It doesn't make it be full height though, so we need to do something else in there as well. The other thing that I'm going to do while I'm in here is click on this change content position. So at the moment, it's putting the text in the center, and I would rather have the text in the top center. So we'll come back to formatting the text in a moment while we are looking at the cover image. Over here on the right hand side, I'm going to tick this little fixed background. So that is, you can't really see it very well while we're in the back end here, but that's what sets the background to stay static. Other things to do in here. We've got two tabs within our block settings, and we're going to go over to this styles tab. So a few things. Firstly, my image here has got an overlay on it, which makes it look a little bit washed out. So we're just going to pull that back. Now that obviously means we can't see the text anymore, but we're going to come back to that and fix that in a minute. And then the other thing that I want to do is make it be the full height of somebody's screen. So here we've got minimum height of cover. If I click into that, and I'm just going to click on where it says PX, and I am going to select view height, and it's set to be 50% of the height of whatever browser window or screen somebody's looking at. And I'm going to change that to be 100%. So again, if we save draft, and I'm just going to open the preview in a separate tab to make life easier. So you see now we've got the image full width, we've got it full height, we've got it static as we scroll, but we can't see our text, and we've got this home at the top, which we also want to get rid of. So a couple of quick changes. I go back in here and I click on the text, which is there. And it's just simply a matter of changing the colour. So this is a paragraph block. We've got some options over here on the right hand side, one of which is to change the colour of the text. And I'm just going to select this kind of very dark blue. You can also play around with the size of this. So maybe I want this to be XL rather than L. You could be much more specific as well, but we're just going to go with some of the basic options at the moment. And then the other thing just quickly to do is to get rid of the home showing at the top of the page. So this is a feature of Astra specifically rather than WordPress generally. With Astra, when you have a title for a page, you can see this little I next to it, and if I tick on that, it's going to turn off the visibility of that heading at the top of my page. So again, let me save the draft and refresh, and you start to see what we have looks a lot more like what we were working with in the demo. Actually, I've got that text much bigger there. Let's go back here and see what we can do. So here on typography, it goes, it gives you some default sizes, small, medium, large, extra large. But if you click on here, these little 2 dots, you've got set custom size. So it's 42. Let's go for something bigger like 80. And save that and refresh. Yeah, so that's more like it. So just check what that actually is on the other side. It's 64. So if I go back in here and select 64, and then let's make that bold. So here above the paragraph, we've got this, you've got bold and italic and add a link and so on. We're just going to make that bold and save that and view it and compare it. Yeah, that's the puppy. So it's a slightly different position on the page because we don't have the menu set up in the same way. We will come and look at that in a moment. So going back to the dummy site, what do we have next? So the next thing that we've got is another little heading and then some dummy text next to it. So how have we done that? That is a row with a couple of different kinds. We've got a heading and a paragraph sitting in a row. We scroll down to underneath the cover that we've just played with and look for a little plus button, which means add a block. Click on add block and we search for row. So a row, by default, it gives us effectively 2 columns side by side, and we can add a block into each column. So if we go back here, you can see what we've got is this heading and then just some dummy text. So I'm just copying this over to make life easier. We are going to look at the first column here and click on the little plus button in there and choose heading. And then I'm just going to drop in my copy. And then I've pressed return and that jumps me into the second column. I'm going to click add block and I'm going to add a paragraph. And then I'm just going to again go back here and copy this and bring it across. So if I save that and we preview it, there we go. So we're starting to build something. So what do we have next? Underneath our introductory copy, we've got this, I think this is called a feature block. So you could have this as some kind of how we can help you, or what are the services that we can provide, or whatever you want. And to do this, I've used a slightly more pre-designed block that is not available in the standard WordPress installation. So I've added some new blocks into the standard WordPress installation with a plugin, and the plugin is called Stackable. So we go back to our dummy site and go to the page editing. Make sure that's saved, just check that I've saved everything. The next thing that we're going to do is add this plugin. So we click on the WordPress logo and it takes us back to the admin area. And you can see here we've got this option plugins. And if I click on installed plugins, there's nothing in there at the moment because it's a blank WordPress installation. We haven't done anything yet. So we're going to click add new plugin. And down here, search plugins, we're searching for Stackable. And it's this one, Page Builder Gutenberg block. So this is just going to give us some more blocks that we can play with. Same basic process as installing a theme. So I click install now, just ticks through, and then I click activate. And we are good to go. So if I go back to my page, so back to pages, you can see it is setting us off on a little wizard to help us get to grips with the theme. I'm going to skip all of that, but you can work through it if you want to. You don't have to. So skip it and try again to go back to our all pages. And we're looking at home, the draft. We click edit, and here we are. So underneath our row, the next thing we're going to do is click to add a block. And this time we're going to browse all. And you can see now we've got these pink blocks. These are all extra. They're new. They've come with Stackable. So there's all kinds of swish things that you can do in here. But what we are after is the feature grid. So Stackable is a free plugin, but as with the theme, with the Astra theme, there's a premium version that you can pay for. We can do everything we need to do today in the free version, but you can see the difference here. So it's offering us in our feature grid a couple of options for styling for free, and then these that are in grey, we pay for those. But that's fine. We're going to use the default here. So that gives me these three sections side by side. So let's just remind ourselves of what we're dealing with over here. So we've got three sections: running, swimming, yoga. We've got a picture for each, and we've got a find out more button at the bottom. So let me just copy that text so that I've got it to hand, and we will go back and replicate that. So we've got running. So I'm literally just typing over swimming, yoga. And then this is the description. I'm just going to drop in my copy, but you would obviously write something that's specific to your particular setup. And then we've got our images at the top. So if you click on the image, takes us into the media library. So it's offering the option to upload some files, which is what I'm going to do. But if I just quickly show you the media library. So this is where WordPress stores all of the images that you're going to use, that you use during the process of building your website. So at the moment, we've literally just got this one image in here. That's the cover image. If I go back to upload files and click on select files, I'm going to load in actually a selection of different things. So I've got a little logo, I've got a video, and then I've got three images. So I'm just going to bring those all in while I'm here. You can load up any images that you have on your desktop. The media library will take all different image formats. You can load up PDFs, as I'm going to do. You can load up video. So there's a whole range of different things that you can do with the different media options. So I'm missing there these action shots. So let me just find those and bring those in as well. So I had those stored somewhere else. They're just loading up now. So let's start with our running picture. So it's already highlighted. If I just click between those, whichever one has the tick in the right-hand corner is the one that's going to get loaded. So we're going to load this one here and click select, and in it goes. And then let's click on the swimming image and add in the image, select, and then click on the yoga and add in the yoga, select. So let us save the draft and see what we're dealing with now. So we've basically got the same layout. We haven't looked at the buttons yet, obviously, but our images are slightly different heights. Let's just check. Oh yeah, and obviously over here we've got them in these blobs rather than in the squares, and there's a little bit of a shading behind the 3 different sections. So how do we do that? So if I click on this image, we have a look over on the right hand side. As always, as I said, you've got styling options above the image and also on the right hand side. And if I scroll down, you can see that there are there's a lot of options that you can play with the image. But what we are looking for is image shape here. And if I click on edit, here are our different options. So we're going for blob. And the same thing here, image shape, blob, and image shape, blob. Oops. When I am hovering over the image, you can see you've got this little black kind of bar that comes over, and that is the size of the image. So you can set them here all to be the same height. So it's saying at the moment it's going to be 100% of the width of the space that it's set in with an automated height. So basically you'll use the dimensions of the image to decide how high it should be, but we could say we want it to be a fixed height. So let's say it's not going to be enough, is it? 200. Let's say 400. That's too much. Let's say 300. Okay. Same for this one, height 300. And same for this one, height 300. So again, if I just save the draft and we quickly preview that, you can see they're identical and they're all changed now to the blobs. So let's have a look at the buttons. Each of the buttons just sits at the bottom of the block here. And if I click into where it says button, you can see I can just edit that text. So the first instance, I'm just going to put find out more for the text for each of the buttons. If we go back to the first one, let's have a look. Over here on the right hand side, we've got some options for styling the button and for what happens when we click on it. So we have a look at the layout options. We've got some options for spacing and so on. I think what we're looking for is in styles. Yeah, so if we go into styles and we click on default, that gives us the coloured background and the white text as default. We're going to change that colour. So where we've got button colours here, we click on button colour. Let's make the button black. And the other thing that we're going to do is just give it very slightly rounded corners. So border radius is how much rounding you want on the corners. So if I put in 20, for example, you can see it goes. See here over on the left, it's changed. That's quite a substantial change. If I put in 50, even more. I want very subtle change, so I'm just going to put 10 as the border radius. And then the other thing that we need to do to actually make this work as a button is here in link. So link is what do we want to happen when we click on our button? Where's it going to go? So I could put in a link here and that would be another website, for example, or a different page on this site. And if somebody clicked on the button, it would take them through to that page. But I don't want to do that because this is just going to be a one-page website. So what I want is when somebody clicks on that button, it opens up their email and puts a sort of blank template together for an email to send to me. So the way that I do that is where it's got link/URL, I type mail to, and then drop in the email address. And then you can see, you can't see it very well, but there's a little curved icon there. I click submit, and then you can see it's gone in, it's working. So I'm just going to quickly style these other buttons so that they match. So again, change the color. Oh, sorry, no, change the default style. That's what we do. We change the default style. We put in the link. We submit the link. We change the button color. And we change the border radius. And then once more for this last button, change the style. You can see there's loads and loads of different options in here, so you can really go to town with this, do all kinds of nice effects if that's what you want to do, but I'm going to keep it simple because I don't want to overcomplicate things. So there we go. Let me just save that. So the other thing that we had on this site version here is this wave effect underneath our feature grid. So if I go back and we click in to the feature grid, so you can see sometimes it's a little bit fiddly. So if I click here, I'm just in the settings for this particular column. If I click here, I'm just in the settings for this image. What I want is the settings for the whole of the grid. So what I've actually done is I've clicked on into one of the columns, and then I've just pressed the up arrow, and it sort of takes you up a level. So I can see now that I'm in the settings for the whole of this grid. And there is an option in style here to have a top separator and a bottom separator. So if I toggle bottom separator and turn it on, you can see it appears on the page. And these are the different options that we've got. So you can have a play and see if you like any of those. And if you do, then feel free to use them. So I'm going to turn on this wave 2 and save my draft. Again, let's just quickly preview this. So we're starting to get something that looks very similar to what we are building over here. So what do we have after that? We've got this meet our team of experts, and then the video, and then some FAQs, contact, and a map. So meet our team of experts is actually the same format as the first bit of text. So there's a simple way that we can do that in WordPress. We can just duplicate the row here at the top. So I make sure that I'm in the row rather than just the individual paragraph or the individual heading, and select options, duplicate. And now I can just grab that and pull it down, or I can use these little down arrows. So it's just dropping it down underneath the last block that we were working on. So what do we have in here? Meet our team of experts. So the copy is the same. I'm just going to change the heading. Okay, save that. So next we have this video. Let's just remind ourselves, when we click on it, it pops out like that. And then when we click back, it drops in. So this is one of the new blocks that we've installed. So if I just click out of my row and select add block and browse all, in here we've got video pop-up. So this works pretty much the same way as the images worked. So if I click on it, it says which video do you want? And I haven't loaded up a video yet, so let me just grab the video. So here's the video loaded up, and I click select, and in it goes. So there's two things that we need to do here. So one is to load up the video, and the other one is to put a cover image on it, so effectively like a thumbnail that's going to show prior to people clicking on the video. So over here on the right hand side in the styling options for the video pop-up, you can see we've got two options for where to get the video from. You can upload it directly into your WordPress site, or you can point to a YouTube video. So I'm going to upload. We've actually got the video in here. It's yoga video MP4. In it goes. And then the second thing that we need to do is change the cover image, the thumbnail. So again, if I click on that, it's going to ask me to load up the image, and it's this one. So if we just save that and have a quick look at what we've got. There it is. And if I click on it, there it is. So it's pretty straightforward to add that video. Underneath, we've got the FAQ section with a series of FAQs, and when I click on these, it drops them down. So we go back to our practice site. The first thing I want to do is put in a bit of space underneath, so I don't want my FAQs jammed up against the bottom of the video. So if I click add block and type spacer, gives me the option of adding in some space. It's suggesting 100 pixels of space. I'm just going to take that down a little bit to 50. The first thing that we have in our FAQ section is a heading. So when I click on plus and select heading, just type in frequently asked questions, and then if I hit return, it gives me the option to add another block, and I click add block, and the block that we're looking for is called accordion, and we're just going to go with the default accordion. So this can be a little bit fiddly, but basically what you've got, if you click on it, is what do you want the title to be? So that would be the question, and then what's the answer going to be? So over here we've got how much does it cost? Whoops, I just overcopied that. So how much does it cost? And then let me just take a sentence of my lorem ipsum to be the answer. There is some styling, as always with these things. You can play around with them as you wish. But I'm going to pretty much keep that the way it is. I don't think it needs a lot of messing around. Again, I'm going to use the duplicate function. So how much does it cost? What's the next question? Where are you located, and can I get private lessons? Where are you located? And then duplicate. Can I get private lessons? So let's save that. Refresh the front end. Here we go. So next we've got this little contact section, and then we've got a map at the bottom. How do we do that? So again, I'm going to add some space. So you can see it's offering me spacer now because it knows that I used it. Again, I'm going to take that down to 50. And then underneath the space, I'm going to put in a heading. Select heading, contact us. And then I'm just going to add a paragraph. So plus paragraph, and that's going to be the telephone number, whatever that is. And I'm just pressing return now, and it automatically gives me another paragraph if I just start writing. So if I email, and there's our email address. To make the telephone number be a link, if I highlight that and just click on link and then type tell and then the telephone number, and return. That makes that into a telephone link. So if someone was on a mobile device, for example, they could click on that and it would open up. I've just copied and pasted the email, so it's gone in as an email address. But again, if I highlight that text and click on the little link there and type mail to, oops, and then the email address and submit it, that makes it be a link. So let's save the draft and just quickly view it. So the last thing is we've got a map at the bottom. So that's this map here. Again, we're going to add some space. Nice 50 pixels worth of space. And then underneath that, let's just browse all and have a look. If I search for map, and it offers this embed map option. So this gives us a whole load of different settings. If I click in on it, the first thing that I want to do is set it to be full width. So I'm clicking on this little button above it here and selecting full width, which makes it be full width. And then I'm also going to make it taller, so it's 350 pixels. So let's say we want that to be, actually if I just use this, we'll go up as high as 500. So we're going to make that be 500. And then you can put in any location that you like and it will use that as the basis of the map. So if I am in Dundalk, for example, and you can, as you would ordinarily, you can just sort of play around until you get that at the right place for you, and then click Save Draft. Let's just check what we've got. There we go. So we're nearly there. Let's see what the difference is with the one that I used as the demo. Only thing that we don't have at the moment is a logo in the header and this little menu. So just to remind you, the way the menu works is it drops you down to the different sections of the page. So the way that we do that is we basically have to give each of these sections on the page a little tag, which is called an anchor tag. And then when we set our menu, we tell it, when somebody clicks on this link, drop them to this anchor. So if we go back to our page, scroll back up to the top. So the sections that we want to link to, we've got this here, how we can help you. So if I click in, I'm just clicking into the heading, it doesn't really matter for this, and we drop down Advanced, it offers you the possibility of putting in an HTML anchor. So I'm just going to put in help and save that. And then here for meet our team of experts, same, let's say meet, save. And then for the FAQs, we'll put the anchor as FAQ, save. And then for contact us, we'll put the anchor be contact and save. So we need to set up a menu. That's what powers this. And menus live in appearance. So I've dropped it out of the page for the time being and I've dinked into appearance, whoops, and I'm going to select menus, and we need to create our first menu. So we're going to call this menu primary menu, and the theme is saying, actually there's a number of different places that you could potentially put a menu. Where do you want this one to go? We're going to say this is actually the primary menu. That's where we want it to go, in the position of the primary menu, which we know is the top of the page. So we click Create Menu. And then we need to add our items to the menu. So if we had pages, other pages on the site, we'd see them here and we could link to them. But we're actually going to do custom links because we're linking to a point on the page rather than to a different page. And the way that we do that is by putting in a hashtag and then the anchor. So help was the first one. And then the link text is what you actually want to appear in the menu. So how we can help you, add to the menu. And then the next one was meet. And the link text is going to be meet the team. And then the next one is FAQ. Whoops, put that into caps for some reason. This is case sensitive, so it's important to get it right. Add to menu, and then the last one was contact. I think I've done it again. Contact. Add to menu. And then save the menu. We go to the front end now. You can see here is our menu. However, we are not looking at the page that we've set up called home. So it's not enough just to set up a page and call it home. You have to actually tell WordPress that this is going to be your home page. So at the moment, it's actually presenting the sample page that it's built for us. So there's a little setting that we need to tweak to do this. So if we go back to the dashboard, we go to settings, reading. And you can see at the moment it's set to be your homepage displays your latest posts. But what we actually want is your homepage to display a static page. It's not offering us the page. That's because the page is still on draft. Hold on, we need to make a quick change to actually put the page live. So we've got our home page here and I have still got it on draft. So if I go click edit, quick edit rather, publish, and then update it. This time we go back to settings, reading, and select a static page. There we go, there's our home option. And we click save changes. So now when we go through to the front end, it will show us that menu and the page that we've just built as being the home page. There it is. There's the page. And the other thing that remains to be done is we don't want it to say My Practice Website at the top. We want to put the logo in here. So with any theme, you'll always see you've got this customize option, and there's a whole series of things that you can do in customize. And one of them is edit the header, which is this section at the top that's got our navigation and the site name in it. So if I click on customize, you can see it takes us into a slightly different interface from what we've been looking at before. What we've got in here, these are all the options that control the formatting for the whole of the site. So you can do things in here like change your font and it will change the font for the whole of the site, or change the width of the content, we'll change it for the whole of the site. But what we're interested in at the moment is this header builder. So if I click on that and then we look at site title and logo. So the first thing I'm going to do is select logo. I'm going to select this logo here. I am not going to crop the image. I'm going to skip cropping. In it goes. It's a little bit small. I could make it slightly bigger if I want to, so you can play around with that to a certain extent. And then where it says site title, you can have this or not have it as you prefer. It's entirely up to you. So if you've got a logo that's got the words that explain what your business is in them, you probably don't need to have the site title as well, or you could use the site title as a little bit of extra information. But effectively, that is your choice. So I'm going to click publish, and that puts these changes live. There's one other thing that I want to look at is just making the text on the menu a little bit bigger. So again, we're in this header builder primary menu. If we click on design, and you can see we've got menu font. If I click on that, it lets me play around with the font size. So I don't want it to be too bananas, but maybe something like that is about right. Or I could just type in whatever I think it should be and click publish. And so if I close that now, Here we are, so we're on the front end. This is looking at the actual site, and here are the various different elements that we've built. So it's pretty straightforward to put together a nice looking, fairly professional, but simple one-page website for a business like this. And then you can build that out and add new pages and all kinds of things, whatever you want to do. But that is the basic principle of getting something up and running quickly. So I hope very much that you found this useful. Please have a look at some of our other videos. We've got trainings and so on. We can do one-to-one WordPress training with you and work through this process on a site of your own, to your own design, if that would be helpful. We've got a whole series of other videos that show you how to do various bits and bobs in WordPress, and I'll put some links to those that you can access. But thank you very much. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video. I hope that you found it useful, and I just want to point you to a few other ways that we can help you if any of this is of interest. So we have another free webinar, Getting Started with WordPress. So again, if you want to learn more about WordPress, if you come to our website and click on training, and you can see all of our webinars. If you just scroll down and have a look at Getting Started with WordPress. So we run this on various different dates, as you can see, and it's also available on demand. If you just select the on-demand version, then you get immediate access to it via our learning platform. So that's a good option if you are starting from scratch. We have some other WordPress webinars. So if I go back to training, if you just click on training listed by topic, and if we scroll down to the WordPress section, you can see, in addition to getting started with WordPress, we've got a webinar for people who are taking over a WordPress site that someone else built, which can be a special challenge. And then we've got a couple of webinars that specialize in issues to do with security of WordPress sites and speed and performance, which obviously helps with your SEO. And we've got an on-demand webinar if you're interested in setting up an e-commerce store on your WordPress site using WooCommerce. We have a whole series of free WordPress resources on our website. So if you come to the resources section and click on WordPress, the whole series of different videos that just explain how to do various things that you might want to do with WordPress. And we also offer one-to-one training. We do quite a bit of WordPress training with people, so a one-to-one session just with you or with your team. We can use your own website. We can help you to build a website if you're working from scratch and you want to set something up for brand new. So if any of that sounds like it might be helpful, please don't hesitate to get in touch with us. We would love to speak to you. Thank you very much, and goodbye.